Well, good morning, everybody. Let's make sure the volume is up here. Or wait, now it's not on at all. There we go. All right. There we go. Well, good morning, everyone, again. I'm Jan Erickson with Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for Monday, the 27th of August, 2018. I know we had some interesting news, some difficult news to hear, although I'm sure it wasn't, completely unexpected because we got news that Senator McCain was going to be pulled off of all treatment. And then we found out on, I believe it was Saturday, wasn't it, that he had passed. So blessings to his family during this difficult time. It's not easy when you lose someone, even someone at 81. His mother outlived him. She's over 100. So I think that whatever positive feelings we can send excuse to the family might be a good idea, irrespective of what you thought of the man, whether you were someone who would have voted for him or not. He had an effect in this world, and some would say polarizing, some would say not. It depends on how you see it, I suppose. But there's a family right now grieving over the loss of a man who was the family patriarch, basically. So anytime a parent dies, I don't care how old you are. Our mothers, my husband's mother and my mother, they both died in their 60s. Mine was just a month before her 66th birthday, and my mother-in-law was 63. Oh, hi, Peep. Hi, sweetie. I don't have any food for you guys. Hi. The ducks are here. But you're never prepared. My mother had been ill, so it wasn't, no, go. It wasn't that, again, it was not unexpected, but it's always unexpected. My oldest and I actually found her. So, no matter what the circumstance, whether it's something that is going to happen or it's unexpected, like with my mother-in-law, that was completely unexpected. And no matter how long they've lived, it's still a void. So if you don't have your parents in your life, and that's by choice, maybe rethink that. Sometimes we react in ways that later on you look back on and you think, what was that all about? I think it's not always easy for family to remember that, everyone's still human. We all make mistakes. We all perceive things. No, now, don't be chewing on me. Yeah, eager duckling, who's not such a duckling anymore. He's almost full grown, so I have no sympathy. I don't have any food for you guys. Go forage. It's what you're here to do. But anyway, it just sort of gives one pause when you see the father in a family or mother or something die, and you have to sort of make sense of it all for yourself as an adult child, and it's not easy to do. Not any easier, whether it's going to happen or you don't. So it's difficult either way. So let's hopefully send some blessings to these folks here in the coming days, because they're going to need it. Grief is not linear. 1 minute you're fine and the next minute you're not. And and that can hit you years later even. So the main thing I can recommend, and I know they don't need anything from me, but that's just to be gentle on themselves, and to accept their feelings for what they are, and to love each other, because that's what's going to get them through in the days ahead while they're having to deal with this whole transition to life without him. So many, many, many blessings to this family while they grieve and while they heal. Let's count 13 and see what we have for today. Go find Jerry. He's picking blackberries. Go find Jerry. He's picking blackberries. You'll love that. Go on. It's fine. You can go. Oh, well, we had this the other day, the Eight of Pentacles. And that's interesting because today, the overall numerology, if you include if you don't include the year itself, because if you include the year, which is an 11, then we're looking at 1, which is new beginnings. But if you just look at the day itself, August 27th, then you're looking at an 8. So we're looking again at practical matters. Or if you look overall, we're looking at new beginnings. So maybe some new beginnings having to do with the practical, mundane matters of life. Here you have a guy who's sitting there. He's a craftsman. He's working diligently on his craft. You can see that he's building his wealth and building material possessions or his legacy. And you can see off in the distance that there's a city or a town. You know, there looks like there's maybe a castle or a church back there. But it's basically, this is about the greater good. So practical matters have to do with the greater good today. And since we had this once before, let's take another card and let's see if there's anything else that it might have to add. You know, it isn't about that I don't shuffle enough. Oh, now, go on. I said that he's picking blackberries. You know how you love them. I get my legs up. Oh, now his mother's doing it as well. They're pecking at me. They think I have food. I was going to give them some lavender, but no, we don't want to get them started on that. Then they'll start picking it themselves. I grow my blueberries in pots, and they can actually jump up, and well, not so much anymore. All they have to do is just sort of lift their necks up and get to them, but they can pick the lower blueberries, and they do. I go out there expecting to find them, and they're not there. My husband says, yeah, well, it's the ducks. But let's see what else we can find. That might influence us today. Oh, well, we have the star. This is a 17, which is actually, well, it's the embodiment of August 29th, isn't it? Because that comes out to 17, which then reduces to 8, which is where we get the practical matters. But now the star is a card from the major arcana, so it's going to be a soul archetype card. So here we have higher self saying, yeah, this is about practical matters today, but it's about letting spirit inform that, isn't it? The star is the blessed conduit between non-physical and physical form. She's about inspiration and hope, and bright prospects and visions and healing and optimism. It's our letting our intuition flow. It's basically about our dreams becoming a reality. And so when we look at this card and we see the star next to it, then whatever it is that we're building, that either something new that's on the horizon or something we're continuing to build, basically what the star is telling us is that if we employ our intuition, our insight, our spiritual gifts, if we remain open to spirit informing, then this process of mastery and building our legacy for the future and doing something that's greater than just for ourselves, that's really what's happening today. That in fact, the notion of selflessness, it comes into play. The whole notion of wishing upon a star, letting dreams become reality. So that's kind of interesting, isn't that? Let's look at the rune, though, and see what it has to say, what it will inform us about. We'll see if it's something that is intuitive or having to do with practical matters or something else. We'll see what it has. As those of you who've been here before know, I count 13 on the cards. 13 figures prominently in my life in a variety of ways. I was born on the 13th. I was ill for 13 years. Lots of 13s. Things seem to come to a close in my life after 13 happens. I don't know. I don't know why. Uh, Hi. But that's what happens. Hi, Peep. Hi, Mama. I know. No, no. Leave, don't be pecking at me. I just should have brought out a handful of cracked corn or something. Yeah, I just give them stuff for the chickens. Okay, here we have Thurzaz. Everybody loves Thor, right? Or everybody loves the guy playing Thor, one of the two. Yeah, no, 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 no. Go away. Go get blackberries. Anyhow, Thurzaz is a very catalytic rune. It's the third rune of the Elder Futhark. It's about what opposes us. It's about defense, both physical and psychic defense. But basically what it does is it helps us break through stuck periods too. So if we were having some problems with our how we're manifesting our legacy or how we're building wealth or what have you, this helps us to push through all of that. It's also about new beginnings. So if we look at today as a one day, and we include the year in it as well, that brings us down to a one numerologically, then this is also about new beginnings. And so, but basically it looks like a thorn. You can see the little key there, the little thing that sticks out that looks like a thorn. And it's basically about self-defense. It also represents Mjolnir, Thor's hammer. And so it's basically about catalyzing change in our lives, regeneration. It's also asking us to not extend ourselves to others in anger, to not react in anger, to maybe think about how we react to the circumstances around us. Are we going to react with great force, or is it, it's like, are we going to take a sledgehammer to something, or are we going to take a scalpel to it? So we have to also think about, because it's such a catalytic and dynamic rune, the changes that we're going to be making, the new beginnings, the new manifestations, how we're going to build our legacy, maybe something needs to change here. Perhaps we're on the wrong track. Perhaps we're focusing on things that really aren't for the greater good. And so when we look at this again, building legacy, the fact that it's happened again here, because this happened last week. In fact, it might have been Wednesday or Thursday. I think it was toward the end of the week. It might have been Thursday that we pulled this. I'll have to go back and look. But again, it's what are we building? See, and he's not really even paying attention, really. He's just building. He knows what he needs to do. He knows what works. This is the foundation that works. You can see that it's not crumbling. And so clearly the diligence, doing our due diligence, is what we need to do. And using our intuition to help manifest all of that along. Here's the thing. It's like we almost want to sit back and look past all the stuff that's not working in our lives. We just want to keep on going and keep on, waving that hammer and trying to have an effect that really, although is an effect certainly, maybe it's creating great change, maybe that's what's happening in fact, but is it the kind of change that we really want? And so I think what we need to sit back and take stock, because this guy, it's almost like he's just in this Zen moment with himself, He's very focused, he's very inward, he's drawing from what he knows. And I would encourage people, in the coming days, because we're finding out a lot of stuff now, right? You know, 2018 is the year of illumination. It's an 11 year. So this is the year of illumination, and it's about finding out all kinds of stuff that we didn't know before, or maybe some of us did, but maybe not the details. Maybe some of this really isn't surprising to anyone, but at the same time, it kind of is, you know? So as the days go forward and more things come out, let's go inward. Let's do our due diligence. Let's go into and really ascertain, or not ascertain, but really go inward and use that as the barometer. Does all of this make sense? Things need to make sense. It's not like there's things going on that suddenly it's all going to be revealed and yay. You know, I don't know about that. It's possible, but I don't know about that. It just doesn't feel right. It feels too chaotic. And so typically when that's happening, you sense it. You sense something greater is about to happen. Well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Maybe the great awakening that's about to happen is about understanding just, you know, how corrupt everything is. I don't know. But are we actually looking at the answer, or are we looking at the example of this out in full view, where everyone has to just sit and watch in horror the train wreck that's going on? So you've got some positive things happening in some people's lives, but they're not happening in everyone's life. And that's what was promised, right? All the little people, right? Well, those things aren't happening. Instead, we continue every day to do our due diligence. We go to work, we build our lives, we try to, as all of the safety is being taken away, so that we can do that. So we'll see, you know, we'll see what Thurisaz is telling us, because at the end of the day, we have to think about, is our greatest opposition our own inability to see the truth? And that's true on all sides here, because we don't know yet, do we? We don't know how all of this is going to shake out. Is it the promised, you know, change that all of this stuff that's happening supposedly behind the scenes, is it really? Or is that just a pipe dream? You know, are we hoping for something that we're misinterpreting what we're seeing? You know, I don't know. It's very confusing. But what keeps coming up to me is that this isn't right. That this is not the way to do it. In other words, it's not the way to do it. You know, you can, it'd be the same thing as your house needs a coat of paint. We're just going to tear the house down. Rather than painting the house, we're just going to tear the house down. You know, sometimes you've got to throw the baby out with the bathwater, because there's nothing else you can do. You know, if the walls are falling down, it's not just a paint job. Yeah, you need a paint job, but you need all these other things. The electricity doesn't work. You know, the house is 300 years old. You know, go build something else. But a country is a little more nuanced than that. There's a lot of people who live here, and we cannot define it down to one skin color. It's not going to ever work. So it seems like that is at the heart of this. And all of the promises that are made are empty, because they're not happening, not in the way they said they would. So it would seem to me that if all of the ducks are in a row, which they seem to be, and all of the control is on one side, why aren't these things happening? Why isn't all the promised things happening for everyone? Why don't veterans feel secure? Why don't people on Medicaid feel secure? Why don't people feel secure? Where is this happening in their lives? And it isn't so much that, okay, well then go out and build it for yourself. Sometimes life just doesn't allow you to. So if you're a mom and you're taking care of a disabled child, how do you then have a work requirement for Medicaid? Is the child that's disabled supposed to go work? Who's going to take care of the child if mom's not there? Maybe dad's working, but they don't make enough, you know. What do? We just abandon our family because that's what everyone is, whether we want to accept that or not. You know, we can build on behalf of our family. We can draw from source presence to do it, and we can make it happen. And we can make all of this other stuff go away and get back to focusing on what makes the world better. It's okay to do that. It's not okay to give it all to a very small number of people. It's like trickle-down economics during Reagan's time. That was a joke, wasn't it? Well, you think rich people are going to trickle it all down to the rest of the folks? No, that's not how that works. Unfortunately, we're not adult enough to not need protections in the law for people. We're just not. Otherwise, we'd be doing it. We wouldn't need it, would we? It would just be in our mindset, but it's not. And as long as we have the us versus them mindset, this will never manifest, not on a collective level. So, anyway, I think that's all I've got for today. The smoke is clearing somewhat. I don't know. Maybe it's a trend. The skies look a little threatening, but that's all right. We could use some rain. In any event, thank you so much for stopping by. Check out my blog, Stepping Aside at I'mSteppingAside.com. I'm Jan Erickson. This has been Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune. Thanks again for stopping by, and blessed be.